Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Zach from the ZAP podcast. I have always wanted to start a podcast, but I never knew where to start or where to even begin. And then I stumbled across the Anchor app. I love the Anchor app because it's completely free and it has all the editing and uploading capabilities that you need right from your phone. So it's super easy and super user friendly. If you've always wanted to start a podcast, go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, let's get on to the episode. All right, what's up, everyone? My name's Zach, and welcome to my podcast. Officially, the start of a new journey for me. The podcast is called Zach Attack Your Passion, or an acronym that I've created for it is ZAP, ZAP. Welcome. So, I wanted to start off with the first episode, just kind of a little introduction, a little bit about who I am and what the future of this podcast is going to look like. So, to get into a little detail about myself, I am currently 25 years old, just turned 25. I graduated from undergrad at Central Michigan University in 2018. Then I went into the real world, got some professional working experience, and then had an opportunity to go back to college for my master's. So, round two back at Central Michigan, where I am in my first year, or just finishing my first year actually, getting my master's. So, that's kind of like the professional, my background, everything like that. But, why podcasting? Why am I doing this? I've always loved people like Jimmy Fallon, James Corden, Ellen, where they're pretty much just talk show hosts, right? Just talking to guests about projects they're working on or background and things like that. And throughout my life, I've always found it really beneficial to hear other people's stories. So, maybe there's an athlete that I really like, or an actor or musician, and just being able to hear maybe some of the challenges that they've overcome, some of the obstacles they've faced, the highs, lows, and in betweens of their journey. It's just been really fascinating to me, and to hear maybe some of those vulnerabilities of people that we look up to. I thought that was really cool, and it's helped me kind of form the mindset that I have in life by hearing, the mindset of others. And what I wanted to do is kind of have those conversations. And I realized I knew a lot of people who were doing awesome things and were great people, and, just really chasing after their passions, whether that's professionally or just for fun. And I've always been someone that's been big on passions, whether it was when I was in college, undergrad, now going for my master's, or even as a working professional. I would always find time during the day to do the things that I loved. So for me, things like health and fitness, so like working out, um, meal planning, focusing on nutrition. I really like sports. So growing up, I played a lot of sports competitively, and now that I'm older, I don't play competitively anymore, but maybe just go outside and play some basketball in the driveway, or whatever the case may be, even watching sports. Other passions are like writing. I've written a few books, and poetry and music I love. So listening to music, playing instruments, writing music, even singing music, whatever I could do to spend time in those passions, that has always just invigorated me and made me feel like the best version of myself. So I really realized from a pretty early point in my life how important it is to spend time doing those passions. And sometimes with school, with work, with responsibilities, there are things that you have to do, and sometimes people love what they do, but sometimes it can be a means to an end, and that's okay too. So I think it's important to have that balance where you're spending time doing things that you truly love. So I've always encouraged myself and others to follow those passions, and that's where the name Zach Attack Your Passion comes from. So, obviously I'm Zach, and I'm sure everyone's heard the whole Zach Attack thing, as a nickname, and then just going after your passion. And that's another reason that this podcast is called the Zach Attack Your Passion podcast, because I'm chasing a passion by even doing this, by starting this. And it's really just kind of the theme and the message that I want to give, that you just need to get started. I mean, I don't really have many expectations going to this. I would love to reach a lot of people and impact many people through my words and the conversations that I'm going to have with my guests, and I'll get into that in a minute. But even if, one person listens to this and, they think that they get a lot of value out of it, then that's all that matters. I'd love to have millions of people listen and whatever, but at the end of the day, just one person saying, I listened to this podcast, it made me feel better during a tough time, it gave me some inspiration, it motivated me. That's what's important to me. And, that ties into probably the biggest passion that I have, and that's just to help others and to, be a positive influence and, inspire and empower others to be the best versions of themselves. So, going back to the guest portion, how this podcast is going to work is every episode it's going to be with a guest. So, after this, you'll probably never really hear me talking for a full episode. It's going to be more so conversational. I can't promise, I guess, that I won't ever just hop on for an episode by myself, but I think more times than not, it will always be with a guest. So 9 out of 10 times, maybe that off time that I'm just stepping in by myself, or hey, maybe, listeners want to hear me talk about a specific topic, or, want to send in some questions. I'd be happy to do an episode about that, or answering questions if people want to hear that. But going back to the guests, what the vision is every episode is going to have a guest, and with those guests I'm going to have a completely organic, unscripted conversation. So nothing's going to be prepped, nothing's going to be planned. I will, I might get a little bio in my head about like who this person is, what they do, so I can introduce them properly to all the listeners. But I'm not really going to prep out any questions or anything like that, because I want it to be free, and I just want to go with the flow and just kind of see where it takes us. That's always just how I've personally been, someone that doesn't really prepare for speeches, presentations, or anything like that. Just kind of like to go and see what happens and what comes out, which sometimes can be a mess, but I think more times than not, it's organic, and it's the truth, and it's us being our authentic selves. So that's how I'm planning on being with my guests. And, when it comes to having these conversations, it's going to be centered around what they're doing, how they got there, their passions, their mindsets, advice, their takes on life, really whatever comes up. When it comes to passions, it could be, I'm really passionate about art, I'm really passionate about music, and talking about how, an individual is a musician and pursuing that dream. But also passions can be, I'm really passionate about the environment, or I'm really passionate about mental health, and just kind of talking about their journeys and their experience and what they're doing in those kind of realms. So, whether it's something that the individual is actually doing or pursuing, or it's just something that they love to learn about or love to talk about, that's, what I want to be able to do here, just to provide a platform to have these conversations with awesome people who are really passionate about specific things. Because I'm sure there's going to be some, individuals where we have overlapping passions, maybe fitness, maybe music, but I'm sure I'm going to be talking to people who have passions and interests that maybe didn't register to me, or aren't something that I'm super familiar with. And I think that's the cool part, just being able to learn and to grow as an individual. I definitely wanted to make this podcast, and I'm making this podcast to hopefully reach some people, and for people that listen to be inspired, to be motivated, to be impacted by these conversations. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this just as much for me to have, a platform and a room to grow and to learn and to become the best version of myself. And I really think that through having these conversations with friends and, maybe new acquaintances, that's going to help me learn and grow, and just really help make me become the best version that I can be. Because at the end of the day, I want to be the best me that I can, for my friends, for my family, and just to live a happy life, and, to be grateful for what I have, and just be very present in the moment. So that's really what's driving me here, and what the intention of the podcast is. We're going to have a guest, we're going to talk to them, nothing's going to be planned. It's going to be all organic, and we're just going to see what comes out. And another big, staple with the podcast and the format that I'm going with is it's going to be unedited. So, of course, like I said, unscripted, unplanned, but also unedited. So, if I, butcher my question or sentences or whatever, or, maybe we have, a little interruption, something goes on, I'm actually not going to edit it out. The reason behind that is just because it's more authentic that way. I'm not trying to be lazy and say I don't want to edit or, anything like that. I just want it to be an authentic conversation. And when I, have been talking to these guests about having them on the podcast, a way that I like to explain what we're about to do is just kind of like imagine we're just going out for coffee and just sitting at a coffee shop and talking. That's kind of what I want this conversation to be. And the best way that I could look at it is if after a guest comes on and talks, if they can say like, that didn't even feel like we're on a podcast, like it just felt like I was having a conversation with a friend. That's what I'm going for. And I think that's, as a listener, for me, when I listen to media and content and podcasts, that's what resonates with me when I hear just conversation, back and forth conversation. And that's what I want to bring to this platform. So hopefully that is something that resonates with everyone else, and you'll like the authenticity and just the free-flowing nature that comes with it. So I'm really excited about this journey. I can't wait to have some amazing conversations with some incredible people, and just to learn about them and to learn about life and just to better myself. And while we're talking about guests, if you're listening to this and you want to be a guest, or maybe someone who would be a really cool guest, put them in contact with me. Reach out. I'm more than happy to talk to anyone. You don't have to be chasing a dream in California with music or acting or anything. Like, you can literally, anyone in the world, any single person, I will gladly talk to. And I guarantee, even if they don't think they have something of like value or of importance or anything cool to say, I guarantee that they do, because everyone's journey is so unique and individual, and their perspectives, and just and that's a lot of what's coming up in these conversations, just people's perspectives on different things going on in the world. So seriously, anyone is more than welcome to be a guest. I would be honored and super grateful to talk to anyone. So please, feel free to reach out if that is something that you're interested in, or if you do know someone who may be interested. I'll put in the description of this episode all of my contact information, so you can reach out to me directly, or pass it along to someone else. But yeah, the door is always open to anyone to come on and talk about anything. I just want to create a nice platform and open, safe, encouraging environment for anyone to come on and share anything, whether it's their personal journey in life, their passion, just their perspective or mindset on something. I think that every single day, every single opportunity, every single person is an opportunity to learn, and it's a lesson, but it's up to us to allow it to be. If we just go into life thinking, we know everything, or not being open to learning, or not being receptive to hearing others or learning, then, we won't. But if we really kind of change our mindset and our attitude, and realize like we can learn so much from so many different people, so many different situations, then it's truly incredible how much you can grow and how much you can better yourself. So everyone that you encounter can teach you something. So at the end of the day, even if you don't become a guest or want to guest on this podcast, just know that every conversation you have with anyone, whether it's someone you've known all your life or a complete stranger, there's always something that can be learned from that conversation. So try to have that perspective. And, the last thing I can say is just, if you're listening to this, thank you. Without people listening, I wouldn't, be able to do this. Like, this is something that's super cool to me, super new to me, but it's super exciting. And, just to have people listening and supporting the vision, that means a lot. And again, whether, that's 5 people, 500, 5,000, 5 million people, as long as at least someone's listening and says, this is awesome, then I feel completely fulfilled in what I'm doing. And, honestly, even if no one listens to it, I still think this is cool. And I'm still getting to talk to some really cool people. So, I think, again, it's all about perspective, right? It would be cool to have a lot of people listen, but just being able to talk and just being able to get to know people, that's all that matters to me. And that's the fun of life, just connecting with people. We're humans, we want connection, we want communication with others. So I'm happy to be doing it. And in addition to any guest suggestions, if there's any topic suggestions, or again, if there's something that you want me to speak about in an episode by myself, let me know. In terms of upload, I'm planning on uploading probably once a week. I guess that could change. I'm still kind of ironing out the details, to be honest, but I would say expect once a week, maybe bi-weekly, but I'm going to try to get the content out as much as possible. And the day of the week, not too sure yet. But I'll be posting all that on social media and everything, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for the support. Thank you for any encouragement, and just for taking the time to listen. Wish you all the best. If there's anything that I can do to help anyone, support anyone, or to make anyone's life easier, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always here to talk, always here to help. And yeah, take care, everyone. Thanks for listening. Go out there, be the best version of yourself that you can be, and have a good day.